Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Folks, we're on book 2 of the Legacy of the Force series, and this is written by Karen Traviss. It's called Bloodlines. Now in this book, Fett discovers that he is dying. His clone genes are breaking down, a defect that even though he was not a rushed clone, it is still impacting him. So he's of course trying to find a cure. He's, heard of some Mandos who can help. Maybe he'll find them, but he only has 1 year left to live. And so he teams up with a bounty hunter called Murtagiv, who can help find his daughter, Aelin Vale. And he wants to see his daughter basically say goodbye before he dies. Now, this harkens back to a short story I talked about a few weeks ago, a long time ago, from Star Wars Tales number 7, where you find out he has a daughter, which I thought didn't exist, which obviously isn't the case. Now, this kind of shocked everyone when Bloodlines came out, that Karen Traviss had decided to take that Star Wars Tales short comic book and make it a reality by giving Fett a daughter. And you were all kind of like, okay, we're actually going here too. I was really confused and went, wait, that garbage is canon now? Oh well, so be it. He has a daughter now. I still think it's a little cheap, but oh well, it is what it is. And his daughter is older too, and Fett and his daughter have been estranged, obviously, because we've never heard about her at any time previous to this, or previous to that story, at least. And so I guess it's okay. Karen Traviss wants it, so she gets what she wants, and she loves dealing with Mandos. Now, full disclosure, I don't really like Karen Traviss. I think I've explained that several times in my videos in the past. She basically had a big head on her shoulders because, hey, to be honest, her Clone Commando series really took off well, and a lot of fans really loved it. So she thought she could do everything. Mandos were her specialty, so step aside. I'm putting the Mandos in this. And so, of course, who wouldn't like, you see Boba Fett on the cover. Even I was excited. I didn't like that Karen Travis's name was on the cover either, but I forgave that because who doesn't want to hear about Fett? And it is interesting that he is dying of this clone disease that Karen Traviss already established in earlier novels. Now, it is true because he's an original homegrown, he didn't have accelerated growth, that maybe he fights off that disease for years, and that kind of makes sense. But now as he's aging, that clone DNA is getting messed up. So I totally understand that. On the flip side, what's going on with Thrak and Sal Solo? Well, Jason should have killed him, because now he wants Han and Leia out of the picture. He understands that he will never rise to power as long as Han and Leia are sitting here on the side of Corellia, because they're going to keep him in check. They're going to keep an eye on him and foil maybe some of his plans to kind of rule the Corellians. So he decides to put a bounty out on them, and who does he hire? Fett's daughter, Aelin Vale. So now Aelin Vale is on a mission to kill Han and Leia. Now, another thing they decided to connect in this series was Darth Krayt from the Legacy comic book series, something I won't be talking about for a long time, or at least for a couple months till now. Darth Krayt, the Legacy comic book story come out, so they already kind of knew they had an end game, a point to kind of connect the two together. And of course, wisely enough, they decided to start tying it together. Now, Darth Krayt is in hibernation right now, so how do you kind of connect him to this series? Well, Luke is having visions of him in his dreams, basically visions of the future, and understanding there is some kind of one Sith out there. It doesn't say it's Darth Krayt, but you're led to believe it is, and that's who Luke is having visions of. He doesn't know what's going on. To me, it's not a throwaway reference. They picked that up later on, but it's the first connection to the comic book series that we've seen in the regular Del Rey series. Now, that thing I said about Admiral Pelion earlier in the previous book about him being too old, yeah, it turns out he is, and he decides to retire. And Admiral Nathal takes over. Now, Admiral Nathal and Jason have kind of a pact together. Even though they're not running the Galactic Alliance, they basically make plans too. They don't think Cal Amos is that powerful a leader, and they're saying, hey, me and you, we know what's going on. We know how to get the Galactic Alliance back on its feet, and we know the military is the answer. So there's kind of like a coup happening here between Jason and the Admiral, which is nice. Meanwhile, with Jason, he is flow walking. He decides, because he's continuing down the path of the dark side, but he wants to check a few things out. Now, he wanted to flow walk, which I'm not really, happy about that kind of forceability, which means you can kind of walk back in time and kind of visualize things. I get it, but Anyway, Jason walks back to episode 3 when Anakin Skywalker is hacking down younglings at the Jedi Temple. Of course, who wouldn't want to go back to that beloved moment? Maybe take a Kodak moment of it too. Anyway, so he's looking at that basically to study and see what Anakin Skywalker did wrong that he can control. Anakin Skywalker got too greedy for power. He won't be greedy for power. He'll give up the dark side once everything is settled. And he's basically trying to convince himself. Now, obviously, this is a lot of hubris. There's a new word I'm trying to learn there on Jason's part, because he thinks, he's trying to convince himself, I'm wiser, I'm smarter than the chosen one, Anakin Skywalker. Again, I like the comparisons here. On the reader's point of view, you're like, dude, Jason, you were just trying to convince yourself. It is not happening. But at the same time, as he's flow walking and he's talking, from his point of view, I see what he's doing. He's thinking, well, Anakin was not as well versed in the Force as I am. He was always impetuous. He was always, impulsive. I am not that way. I am scholarly, educated. I will not make the same mistakes. It makes sense, doesn't it? So I really did like that. And of course, by now, the prequel series is over, so they can take over and plug in prequel moments whenever they want. Obviously, Troy Denning wanted to do that. He did that earlier on one of those New Republic era novels, Tatooine's Ghost. When episode 1 came up, he wanted to, talk about episode 1, which not his best story. But anyway, here we go again. Now that the prequel trilogy is done, Karen Traviss says, hey, I can put this in there too. And I actually did really like that. Now, Jason is going to capture Aelin Vale, interrogate her, and then eventually just kill her during the interrogation. You're like, oh. So what's Fett think of all this? Well, he doesn't know at first. You see, Han Solo and Fett kind of team up to go after Thrak and Sal Solo because the jig is up for him. And Murta Gev is with them too. They finally track down Thrak and Sal Solo. Spoilers, not really, but Murta kills Thrak and Sal Solo. It is the end of him. He won't be getting into mischief anymore. This man who has been a thorn in their side for literally decades now, it seems like, ever since the Corellian trilogy, is finally coming to an end. He was kind of like a second-rate villain, not really the top-tier guy, not really a mastermind. Sure, in the Corellian trilogy he was, but after that he really seems almost in a way like a spineless little underling. So, but it was fine that they gave him this ending, and hey, he's dead. Good for him. Well, eventually Fett finds out that Jason has killed his daughter, the person who he's been trying to reach this entire time. Now, on the flip side of that, he also discovers that Murta Gev is his granddaughter. So there's something there. But and when he finds out, you're thinking, oh man, he's going to turn his blaster and shoot Han and Leia. He's going to kill everyone. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Well, what happens is he decides that it's okay that Jason killed his only daughter, who he's been trying to get to, because the Solo family is being torn apart right now because of Jason. I'll just sit back and watch this family fall to shreds. That'll teach them to kill my daughter? And this is where I strongly disagree with Karen Traviss's viewpoint of Fett. I do not think Fett would let this slip, especially as we see in the beginning of the series. He wants to say goodbye to his daughter. He kind of wants to make amends. Sure, he's never been close to her, but you don't kill the Fett family, man. Fett should come after you. If he can feel love, he obviously felt something for his daughter, and so that someone kills him, even though they were estranged, he would go out seeking revenge. I really think he would. He'd be vengeful. That's who Fett is. He didn't have emotions like that. And why would he sit back like the Godfather? Like, I will watch your family fall apart, and that will be my satisfaction. Does that sound like Fett to you? No, it does not. And that really ticked me off. Of course, a lot of things about Karen Traviss ticked me off back in the day, but that really set me off there because I felt that was such a character deviation from what we knew about what Boba Fett was. Now, I don't really know how other people felt about it on the forum, because usually it was just me railing against Karen Traviss and everyone on the forum coming to her defense, regardless of what I said. But again, I stand by that. I do not feel that that was in Fett's character. And it's tough to write Fett because a lot of people have in the past, and for the most part, they've done Fett justice. But here, I think Karen Traviss, of all people, who loves the Mandalorians, should never have touched Fett, because I think that was a character decision that didn't go with what had been previous established of what we knew about this bounty hunter. Either way, it is what it is. So that's all for book 2. Join me next time as I go over book 3. See you later.